And something that these cards, we're probably going to skip this for a lot of this, but these cards, normally in like when you actually go to a work environment, these are probably going to have like pretty detailed descriptions about what this would entail. Either created by you or like a project manager. So this might be like creating, our app, or like cloning. Maybe the steps for this is like cloning and setting up starter project. We could use README notes. Set that up. It could be creating our models. That might even be a separate task, but we'll just throw this in here, creating our models. Maybe like controllers, just like stubbing them out. And, creating a GitHub repo. Let's see if there's anything else that we could do. And maybe let's throw in like a seeds file. CDB. Anyone think of anything else that we'd need to do for kind of just like the basic setup? Set upping, I don't know what that word is, setting up. Start a project. See, once again, this is also going to give us a way to kind of help break up our tasks into more manageable things. So if we look at just this whole app, this might be a little overwhelming about how we do this. But if we can break these up into tasks and then break the tasks up into smaller tasks, then this becomes more maintainable. So we could just say that's on deck. And then maybe after, we want to do the available front end and back end. So those three could be on deck. Maybe we'll try to get like those done today. So let's go ahead and do our project setup. Cool. So for this, you can clone your own starter project, or I think I'm going to clone one that I had from the last cohort, and I'll Slack it out. Dude, Raphael just threw an image on Slack. That's a nice one. A good little visual representation of your map or your arrays. I like that. Cool.
I just put it together that your Sum 21 meant like summer of 2021 and not the punk rock band Sum 21.
Is that their name, Sum 21?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just a huge fan of Sum 21. Oh yeah, I already have a song stuck in my head from him. Okay, damn it. All right, so let's open up iTerm and clone this on down. So this is going to be a git clone. I'll throw this command out too. Git clone, I'm going to clone that starter project. I'm going to call this fall 21. And remember for our README on this. Oh, this has some. I don't think we need to. Oh, Crap, is this one does use 2.7.2. Okay, let's do this. Let's just see if we run into an issue with this, with Ruby versions. This is something you might run into. So you clone down a directory. I'm going to skip these steps for now. Let's cd into here. So go ahead and run bundle.
Yeah, for me, it did fail indeed.
Okay. So let's do this. Because what's going on here, code dot, I'm going to open this up in code, is, I'm sure this is probably filling for most of you, is that this is using Ruby 2.7.2, which you may or may not have, but you probably don't have installed. So something we could do is we could install Ruby 2.7.2. I don't want to do that because that's going to take like 10, 15 minutes. That would be, but if you're actually working on something, that's what you would want to do. So we could use our like RB, I always have to look this up because we have that RB env tool that we installed the first day of class that you probably have forgotten completely about. I always like this RB env cheat sheet. But what this is a Ruby environment like manager. This is going to allow us to manage different Ruby versions. So we could go in and we could install, we could run this command rbenv install 2.7.2, the one that we're using here. Then we could use that one. We might also have to like install the Rails version for that by just doing a gem install Rails again. But another way we can get around this, like a quicker way, is just to come in here and comment out or just delete this line. Comment it out, or just remove it. And then I'm going to go to this Ruby version, .ruby version, and I'm going to delete this. Okay, so that's deleted. What else do I want to do? And then we can remove the gem walk file. Go to the gem walk file. I'm going to remove that, so delete that. See, for me, it was working because I have Ruby 2.7.2 installed on my computer. That's why bundled worked, because I have that version of Ruby. It probably won't work for you because you don't have it. But now, after you do those, oh, did I just, oops. Crap, I did leave my gem file. Oh crap.
It should still be in your trash, yeah?
Yeah, I can do this. I can just go to VS Code and copy and paste this in here. It might, I think it should be in my trash, so I don't think it's like completely gone, but I have it right here. I don't need to delete my gem file.
Okay, I commented out that Ruby version and deleted the gem file lock. What was the third thing?
There was a .ruby version file that I've already deleted. It's .ruby/version. You can manually do that, or rm-r .ruby version. And then, yeah, delete the gem walk file, not the gem file. You can also use your own starter project. But this is a, I just kind of want to show this to you because, you know, we're so used to using the same version of Ruby because we're all on the same page, which is going to be once you get to your, like a company, that's probably going to be the case, but you might work on different projects that maybe are using different versions of different things. And then you get to run into this lovely stuff of trying to get it to work. Lee, having problems?
Yeah, I was just, where was it we commented? I'm trying to, what page is that? Start.
So this is all, these steps are also in the README. So these are the 3 steps we need to do. And you can run these commands in terminal. The rm-r Ruby version, rm-r gemlock, and then line 4 of the gem file, delete or comment out that 2.7.2. Has anyone successfully run bundle yet?
Yeah, it's working for me.
That should do it. This is like the quick way to fix this. So if you're like in a hackathon, like, because this generally happens, this has been pretty good, this cohort, but it generally happens that, you know, people install different, because maybe they did a different tutorial or something, so they somehow end up with a different version of Ruby, and then hackathon time comes along and like there's like this Ruby mismatch and they can't get their stuff working. So this is like a quick little fix here to for getting that issue. So this will just kind of ignore what the gem file is using. This is, like I said, something you would not want to do like in the real world, but for like our little tutorials, this is a good way to get rid of that. All right. So another thing we're going to want to do as far as our back end is just do what we normally do and go change. Since this is a starter project, we want to change the database name, so we're not reusing that. So we go to our database YAML file and just do a Command F on this change database name here. And we can search and replace it. So I'm going to call this, you know, real estate F21. Now, since we're going to be using SQL Electron, like I'm going to like this is how I'm going to like find my database in SQL Electron, like by what I call it here. So I'm going to name my development one. That's the one we're actually going to use in SQL Electron. We'll also see this test one. We're not going to do anything with that one, but I'll change that name anyway. So just go through and change all those values. Cool. So we ran bundle, we renamed our database. Then we're going to do just a create, migrate, and seed. I guess we don't have to seed because we can just do that anyway. Rails DB create, DB migrate, DB seed. And then I can, I'm definitely going to do that. Let's split this up. I'm going to CD into client and just do my yarn. This one takes a second. While that's running, I'm going to go ahead and you don't need to do this part, this git stuff, unless you want to create your own repo, but I am going to remove my origin and go to GitHub and create a new repo for this. Real estate F21. Copy that new remote.
You know how your brain works on stuff in the background while you're focusing on other things?
Yeah.
The band was absolutely called Sum 41. not some 21. All
Some
right.
41. Oh, I'm frozen. Okay. Yeah, I was like, some 21, that doesn't sound quite right, but it does. It's some 41. Okay. I don't think Zoom likes my high def camera. Cool. So I've removed my origin. Now I can do a git add dot git commit dash m init push origin master. So something you'll learn, like this time, the time I spent for the README on my getting starter project, this is really saving me time. I spent some time doing it, but now that I have this documentation, if I ever forget steps, I can, actually, I kind of forgot about this, we're going to have this mismatch. And then I had the documentation right here about what we need to do. I have all the database change stuff. So it's just a nice little reminder of what I need to do. So when you spend time writing documentation and having to organize, it's time up front, but it generally saves you time in the long run. I can go ahead and like test this out. Just by running Rails, just by starting my Rails server and my React server. There we go. Looks like this one does not have semantic installed. Or maybe it does, I don't know. Maybe it just has a bad nav bar, but that's fine. That actually does look like it has semantic. Okay. Cool, so that's up and running. Once again, I can come look at my little, if I go, where's my Trello board? If I have this kind of thing set up, this can kind of be useful too, to kind of reference like, oh, what do I need to do for this task or to get this little task done? So I've done our GitHub repo, we've cloned and set up our project. Next thing we could do is go create our models and controllers. So I'm just going to Slack these out. Since we spent so much time designing our database, we can kind of just copy and paste these. So don't copy the $sign, but just go through and run these. Go ahead, start my, so I'm going to do my, I do not want to copy all of that. My Rails G model agent. And then we're going to do our Rails G model buyer. And then our property. And then our address. Then we could set up the associations for these. I'll give you a second to do those though. So we're going to need to add a couple things to our agent model and to our buyer model, property model, just to set up the association in Rails. So let's go to the agent model. Remember, our agent has many properties and has many buyers. And then if we go to our buyers model, buyer.rb, our buyer belongs to agent. Remember, with our buyer, we have that cities text. We're going to want to serialize that. Serialize cities. And say, hey, make that in an array. Remember this. This takes our text data from the database and converts it to array. Okay, then we need to go to our property model. Belongs to agent, but our property also has one address. So I'm not going to say addresses. Like Rails is very like particular about how we do these. Like it has one address. Belongs to agent, agent singular because it's one agent. All right. So now that we have that, we can do a Rails DB migrate. And then I'm going to slack out the seats file.
Sorry, on property, on the has one, did you put address or property?
Our property has one address.
I missed a second. And when you were in the agent file, did you do has many properties or?
Yeah, our agent has many properties.
Okay, I didn't know if you could spell it that way with it being property. And then has many buyers. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so the three files, we have our address. Well, we don't need to do anything here. That was there for us. We have our agent. Has many properties, has many buyers. Our buyers, this belongs to is already there, but we serialize our cities array. And then in our property, we add the has one address. And then I'm going to slack out the seats file. This is kind of set up with a lot of data initially. Might just make this smaller for now. Maybe just do 10 and 5 and 5 instead of 50. We are going to make this bigger just to kind of do pagination and that kind of thing, but and then I might comment out a couple cities. So I just have like 3. I think sometimes we are going to want to have this have a lot of data, but I think starting out, I think having a lot of data starting out can just be confusing. So if we have like a small amount of data, I kind of know what I'm getting. Like I can easily more memorize. I have 3 cities, and that's, you know, Sandy, Draper, Salt Lake. Instead of, you know, you tell me 8 things to memorize, then I'm SOL. And likewise, you know, I'm going to have 10 agents. I'm going to have 50 buyers because I have a nested 5 times loop inside of this 10 loop. So I'm going to have 50 buyers, 50 properties, and yeah. So we're going to have, you know, some data to work with. So let's go ahead and might seed this Rails DB seed. This isn't an error, so I got a lot of this though. So what I'm seeing is, you know, this something is deprecated, line 43. Maybe this is deprecated. So does anyone know what deprecated is if you see this word?
It's like old, not in use anymore.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's a good way. It's old, it's not in use. There's potential that like they're going to get rid of it. So, and instead of just getting rid of something, like if you're, is this from Faker? Yeah, I think it's from Faker. If you're going to get rid of like a function, maybe you just don't want to use it anymore. You might, or you don't want to like test it anymore or maintain it anymore. You can deprecate it. And that means you're like, hey, we're not going to use this anymore. We might actually get rid of it. But if you're going to get rid of a function or something, or like rename it or change it somehow, you don't just want to like right away, just get rid of it. And then everyone who's using that is going to like their code's going to break. So deprecation can kind of be like a warning, like, hey, we're not going to use this anymore and we're going to get rid of it, but we'll give you like a year or so. So if I get this warning and I kind of keep ignoring it for years and then, you know, 2 years later, my app breaks, that might be why. And then this is also like obnoxious because every time I run that, it's going to get this error. So let's just fix this. So it looks like what we're trying to do here is have this sold, and I don't know. I'm not quite sure what it's doing. Like maybe I give it 0 through 3, so it's sold a third of the time. But we don't need Faker to come up with this. We can just do this in Ruby. Really simply because I can have like the random function. So let's say I want like a third of my houses to be sold. Well, let's just like take a random number. Does that equal 1? Like a random number 1 through 3. I always forget if random goes from 1 through 3 or 0 through 2. So to check that out, I could just open up IRB, or I could look at the documentation on random, but just run this random 3. There's 0, 1, and 2. So it gives me a random number starting at 0. So this will be true 30% of the time or 33% of the time. Do any of you like use the Rails console or IRB or Node or your inspect? I do. Those are really useful tools to do stuff like that. Yes, I don't need to run that again, but that's now fixed. Or actually, I should run that again. So I'm going to do something I do want to do is go in and that I don't have in here, just taking the time to get this set up. Let's do an agent dot destroy all. property dot destroy all.
Do we not need a require faker at the top since we're using faker down in the agents and such?
I just kind of throw that in there. Like we all probably have like faker installed on our computers, so it'll like find it. But I don't think that hurts to throw that in there because that worked without it. And then we could do like an address. Now this is going to break because I don't have my dependent destroy. So I'm going to do this like the lazy way and put these in order of which they are dependent on each other. So I'm going to destroy all my addresses before I destroy my properties. And I'm going to destroy all my properties and agents before I destroy my agents. Or I could go into those models and do dependent destroy. But maybe I don't want to this might be a case like if I destroy an agent, I might not want to destroy the properties. Because maybe I fired the agent and I still want those properties in my database. So I think this would be a good case of I don't want to do that. I think where I would is if I destroy a property, then I can destroy its address. But let's go ahead and run our seeds file again. No. Having a good seeds file is going to save you a lot of time in the long run. So we could do a just step into my Rails console. Let's just test this out, see if my models are set up. So I could do a agent.first. I have an agent. I should be able to see their buyers because we had that association set up. So that's working. I should be able to see my agent.first and grab their properties. That's working. I should be able to go into the first property, grab that, and then grab the address. So that took 1 minute, but now I know my models are set up. Not 100%, but I have some confidence that those are set up correctly. Any questions on that? And let's just do one route. Let's just do run controller, Rails G controller. Let's do our API / properties. Let's just I don't know if we're going to use all of these. Let's do a buyers. And an agent. I might change these up, but since I have these here, just create properties, buyers, and agents. I don't know if I want to do nested routing yet, but we'll kind of play that by ear. So I think this would be, what time is it? Let's maybe do one route just to kind of see that we're getting this set up. So let's go to our properties controller and do a index method. And just do right here a render JSON. Let's do some dummy data right now working. And then I need to set up handle this route. So I go to my routes file. Do a get within my namespace API. Let's do a get properties. And this will just take me to my properties index. Just review that. We added this to our routes, and then we added the properties index method here to just render JSON. Just doing like a sanity test or a fire test of our controller. So let's start up my server again. And just go to localhost 3001 API/properties. So no route, I'm getting a 404.
Does that say APL? Or is that a uppercase I?
It does say APL. API. There we go, working. Good catch. Cool. So a lot of just basic setup. But I think we're at a good spot now where we kind of have, we spent some time thinking about how we want our app set up, like planning it and like Lucid. We looked at the user stories. We kind of did this work of setting this up, just like our models and some controllers. Now we're ready to, I'd say this would be a great time to commit and push. Because let's say at this point, we're kind of done with our task of setting this up. I'm not going to do a branch for this one. Let's just do a setup complete. I'm going to do branches for other ones. But I'm just going to push this up directly to master. And then, yeah, this one, like we would throw that into QA review. Let's pretend someone reviewed it and they're like, yeah, that's good. And then they pushed it to master. So that is now done. Before we take a break, let's get these cards kind of just set up. Because this available backend, this is like nice because it's telling us what we need to do, but it's not that descriptive. What we're going to do, I'm going to list out the steps here. How we're going to do this is we're first going to, because this is like, we want to get all the available homes. So something I could do is go into my user stories and like copy this story. And then throw that in the description. So that's what this story is about, but it's specifically for the back end. And then I'm going to do like a steps for back end. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do our back end steps. We're going to first figure out how to get data in SQL Electron. With our SQL. So we're all going to be doing custom SQL commands with these. Then we're going to hook that SQL call up in Rails. And we can like and we're going to do this in like in our model. As a model method. Then we'll create a route to get and return data. So now I have this, it doesn't really tell me like code wise how to do this, but it does give me a plan on like what I need to do. So I kind of have what I need. And then I have these kind of this flow of how I'm going to do it. So once again, taking something a little more complicated, but now I've broken it up into 4 smaller tasks. And yeah, when we get back, let's take a break. When we get back, we'll go through this flow and start this task and get that worked out. So what time is it? It's 11:30-ish. Let's just call it, let's come back at 11:40. Any questions or anything? Does anyone need this code? Let me throw this URL to this repo on Slack. But does anyone need any code or anything, or is not caught up to this point?
Can you just scroll up to the controllers?
In the terminal or in VS Code?
Control.
What did you say?
Controller
Well,
in iTerm.
Nitron. Where did I do that? Yeah, so just 3 controllers. API, the only one we really did anything with this is this API properties, but I did a buyers and a agents too.